Are you ready for a show that talks sports from the fans' point of view?
We've seen Michael Jordan score 37 points a game in his era. How many could he score in today's NBA?
There's not a player out there who I'd rather have than LeBron James.
Are you ready for a show that isn't afraid to challenge anyone when it comes to sports? If Adam Silver really wanted to fix tanking in the NBA, he would stop rewarding teams by giving them the best chance to win the draft lottery.
I mean, how many times will Roger Goodell drop the ball on handling domestic violence in the NFL?
Look, athletes have every right to talk politics, but if the fans stop tuning in, that's their right.
Then you're ready for Talk Back, a podcast where two fans debate the media narrative and discuss the world of sports as we see it.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to another edition of Talk Back. I'm one of your hosts, Eric Nesbit, and with me, as always, is Justin Gay, your host and director of content. We're a little delayed with episode 227. I had some business travel last week that did not allow me to get in the studio. I was gone most of the week, so here we are, episode 227 with a little bit of a delay. But Justin, I'm glad that we are on a delay because there's a lot of things happening mainly in the world of football. So on this week's episode, we're going to be a little football heavy. We're going to do NFL in segment 1. I know you've got a lot of hot topics, including reaction to the things going on with Kareem Hunt and the Kansas City Chiefs. Then in segment 2, we've got to talk about college football. Did the committee get the right four in the college football playoffs? What's going to happen with the Heisman race? Is there any doubt as to who's going to win that, or could there be a surprise? Then we've got to talk about the XFL a little bit, at least from the standpoint of a reaction to what the 8 cities are that have been announced by Vince McMahon and that organization bringing back the XFL in 2020. And then we'll top off the show with Tiger and Phil, the reaction to their pay-per-view event that was, well, originally $20, but Justin, then it ended up being for free. So all that and more on this edition of Talk Back.
We are back here on episode 227, and unfortunately, we can't jump into the Week 13 on-field reaction until we react to what happened off the field last Friday. As what we have said on this show several times, when TMZ breaks a story in sports, it's typically not a good thing for the athlete, the team, or the league involved, and definitely was not for all three of those parties, for Kareem Hunt, the Chiefs, and the NFL. I'm sure our listeners by now have seen the contents on the video. We don't have to rehash that. But, Eric, here we go again, the NFL in a similar situation where now you really don't even have domestic violence. You just have straight assault against a female, but it's on video at this point. This incident happened back in February of last year. It seems like the NFL did try to do their due diligence to get this tape, but it ended up that the Chiefs took Kareem Hunt at his word. He ended up lying to the team. They end up cutting him. And here we go again with another issue for the NFL involving a player and domestic violence assault on a female. So outside of Kareem Hunt himself being the person that should take responsibility for this, is there anyone else to blame on how this incident was handled up until this point?
I think that's a very pertinent question because in this instance, there's a timeline, and we don't know exactly what that timeline is other than we know the incident occurred in February. We know that police were on the scene. They interviewed both Kareem Hunt and the others involved, whether it be his friends or the alleged victims. And it's hard to say alleged when there's a video that shows that there was some physical contact being made there. So the victims were interviewed. The story was there. How much of that was given to the Chiefs and the NFL, and when did that occur? It seems that that's where the discrepancies lie. And speaking of lying, Kareem Hunt had his part in this when the Chiefs apparently tried to ask Kareem Hunt about this situation, and he wasn't truthful with them. So that is a big deal. Obviously, there was things he was trying to hide, and that's why the Chiefs are in the position that they're in, having to cut a star running back at an important part of their season, quite honestly, when they're chasing home field advantage and the number one seed in the AFC and then having to lose one of your star players. Not a good thing for the Chiefs at all. Certainly not a good thing for Kareem Hunt in this day and age and with the mob mentality that we have reacting to things like this in our culture. And look, I'm not condoning physical violence against women in any way, shape, or form, but I will say that the media posted this headline that Kareem Hunt brutalizes woman in hotel. And so I'm thinking, oh my gosh. And then I, of course, go out to TMZ. I watch the video. I watch it a couple of times. I get the different angles. And I think, I don't really see him brutalizing a woman. I was picturing maybe him beating her or something like that. Obviously, physical contact was made. The fact is, you just can't do that if you're Kareem Hunt. But he's got the mob mentality, the media against him. This is going to define him as a person. Then he goes and lies to the Chiefs. I mean, just so much bad going on here. And so, Justin, to your point, when all of that is happening in February and then it kicks off a timeline that the Chiefs are trying to do an investigation and then the NFL is trying to do an investigation, and there are either people, A, not being truthful about what happened, and naturally Kareem Hunt wouldn't be because he's trying to protect himself. But then you've got, when did the NFL get this video? When did the Chiefs, or did they see this video? Same thing as the Ray Rice thing. When did the parties know what they know now, and how long ago did that take place? That's really where you're going to have an issue if you're the league trying to manage these domestic violence situations, because they promised that they would get better. I think Kareem Hunt's suspension, obviously his exempt list from the NFL, that will remain, I would think, for the rest of this year and maybe longer. Who knows? He could even be out of the league like a Ray Rice is. That's hard to tell at this point, but it matters when the league and the Chiefs saw this video. And I think that's to the point of your question. How do we know when these things take place and who's being truthful about what? Is the NFL even being truthful about when they saw this video?
Well, supposedly the NFL didn't even see the video until Friday. Same with the Chiefs, and that's why the reaction was so strong and swift from both. But Eric, I take this back again to the NFL not understanding what happened a few years ago with the Ray Rice situation and not having a better plan in place. This happened at a very upscale hotel in Cleveland in an area where you know that there's going to be video cameras. You know that this is going to be on tape. So if the NFL had changed some of their rules, had worked with the Players Association and had said, look, if this stuff is caught on film where it's indisputable evidence that we have a player that it doesn't matter. If they're putting their hands on a female, it doesn't matter to what degree. If they are doing that and they are sort of the aggressor at that point, and Kareem Hunt clearly was. I mean, he knocked over his own boy trying to get to her and put him into a wall as well in his fit of rage. But this isn't even the first issue with Kareem Hunt. There's two other ones the league are investigating, and probably they're just thankful that it doesn't involve a female in those two at this point, and supposedly there's no video for those as well. But this should be a situation where the league comes in with the Chiefs and Kareem Hunt and says, okay, we've heard some rumblings. We know that there's no charges at this time, but we also know there's a chance that there's a video. We are actively trying to get that video, but we're getting blocked because this is a private entity. They don't have to give it to us. Supposedly the Cleveland Police Department wasn't going to pursue it because it was just a misdemeanor at this point. But if this video gets leaked and you're lying to us, you're done for 2 years. You're done for a year for the assault, and you're done for a year for lying to the league and making us look silly. And your contract gets frozen with the Chiefs. And so you don't get to just go through those 2 years and be a free agent. Someone signs you to a big deal. You're still under your rookie deal. Like, there needs to be a harsh penalty for these guys so that they think before they react, because this is ridiculous that the league keeps going through this. It's same with the Ray Rice situation. We knew as soon as that came out of where it happened, we even texted about like, there's going to be video of this. This is a casino. And it just depends on who gets their hands on it. And TMZ is one of those agencies that's willing to go out and spend six figures to get this video, because look at all that they got in terms of hits on their website. All the times their name was in the news. It was well worth whatever they had to spend on this video. For the league, honestly, it would have been worth $200,000 or $300,000 for them to make that tape disappear and handle Kareem Hunt on the back end. Just say he's suspended for a year. We've seen the tape. We've destroyed it. It doesn't need to come out. We're handling this with a suspension. But Eric, the league, they don't learn anything from this. And because these rules are in place, the Chiefs have to go out and be very aggressive basically make a show that this is not acceptable for their organization, and they have to cut one of the best running backs in the league on a third-round rookie deal that's locked him up through 2020. So you start to think about the next step in this process of next year when he comes off the list. He's gone through waivers, so he's a free agent. Anyone can sign them. And you look at the teams out there, Washington just picked up Reuben Foster with all his issues going on. We've seen the Eagles go out and get a guy like Michael Vick after he was released from prison. You know the Raiders are a team that are looking to reload with young guys. They're going to Vegas. They're an organization that's probably willing to take a risk on this. So there are teams out there that are going to be lining up for this guy when he's available because he's cheap, he's low risk. You got him locked up through 2020 on a very reasonable rookie deal when you look at the comparisons of what the guys around him that have his type of production are making. So that's going to be the next step, Eric. This is going to go away, and then all of a sudden it's going to come back up because someone's going to go after Kareem Hunt.
As they should, because I got to tell you, this might not be popular with some of our listeners, but I had no issue with the Eagles picking up Michael Vick. And if a team picks up Kareem Hunt after he's gone through some sort of rehabilitation process, some sort of education as it relates to domestic violence, I don't think a mistake like this has to define you as an individual. Look, in our society, we are such a mob mentality right now that you look at it with the Me Too movement and you look at it with other, platform issues. It's like when a person makes a mistake, the society wants that to become who you are, and that, well, you just can't recover from that. You just can't be in society after you've done something like that. I actually highly disagree. There are some people who need additional rehabilitation, whether it be prison time for crimes committed or whether it be counseling or mental health rehab. There's things that need to happen. But look, if Kareem Hunt goes through a scenario where he's educated and taught how to handle these situations better, whether it be through anger management, through domestic violence awareness, whatever needs to happen, there is a time period in which he can become rehabilitated. And if he pays that debt, if he becomes changed as an individual, he should be able to be employed once again. He's 23 years old, I believe. This doesn't have to become who he is for the rest of his life. So I just believe that there needs to be more grace and forgiveness if a person truly is sorry and repents for what they've done. And so I don't want to see a guy like Kareem Hunt, honestly, blackballed for the rest of his career over something like this. And look, again, I'm not minimizing what he did. I'm not minimizing domestic violence. There is no acceptable excuse for laying your hands on a woman in a physical abuse scenario. I don't condone that at all. But he's a young man who could be fixed and could be repaired from a mental standpoint to make sure that these types of things don't happen again and that it's not who he is as a person. And if that occurs, like it did with a Michael Vick who did prison time for his crimes, they should be able to come back and become employed again.
And I don't have any problem with the league taking him back. I just think there needs to be a set guidelines of more severe penalty. Tom Brady got 4 games for 9/10 of a PSI and not turning over his cell phone. And Kareem Hunt is potentially going to get 2 more for what he did in that video. That just doesn't seem like it adds up to me. I just feel like the Chiefs as an organization, or any organization that has a player in this league that is as good as Kareem Hunt, they shouldn't have to be forced, unless they want to get rid of him. Putting him on the commissioner's exempt list, he still gets paid and they're just investigating. At that point, I feel like the league should come in and say, okay, he's frozen. The team can't do anything with him. He's done for a year. And if these guys blatantly lie about something like that, that's where I think that there should be a different penalty, because that's sort of what they used with Tom Brady. They felt like he was lying and he wouldn't admit to it. So they come up with all this stuff to suspend him for 4 games. But I just feel like there needs to be a penalty there. But the Chiefs then should get the right to say, okay, the year suspension's up. His contract was frozen, so he's still an asset. We don't necessarily want him on our team and in our organization, but is there a team out there that would be willing to give us a first-round pick, a second-round pick, something where we get something back for a guy like this versus where we have to sort of step in to what the league should be doing, get rid of this guy off of our team for nothing, and now someone, potentially even a team in their own division, may swoop in and take this guy from them when the Chiefs were trying to do the right thing. That's what I have an issue with, is the league needs to have a better set of guidelines, because this is going to continue. There should already be programs in place to help these guys. And frankly, Kareem Hunt, he's been in the spotlight. He's not a rookie. He has a 19-year-old girl in his room drunk. That's never a good start. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, and then you go out and you take care of that. You've got an entourage with you. Have them take care of getting her and escorting her out of the room. Call hotel security. Him